Breaking news, a man arrested in the crash here in Cottage Grove. I'm Tanasia Shaw covering the charges he could face.
Right afterwards, we talk about Mount Horeb Strong, but we are Mount Horeb Strong.
Plus, it's been 1 year since a shooting outside of Mount Horeb Middle School. How the community continues to show its support to stay Mount Horeb strong.
And later, a driver is stuck in the middle of a flooded street in Madison this morning. What the city says it's doing to fix this ongoing issue as residents voice frustration. And we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson.
We begin tonight with new details about that deadly crash that took the life of a Cottage Grove chiropractor.
The driver of that vehicle is now in police custody and facing several charges. For more on today's developments, let's go to Tanisha Shaw, who is live at the scene of that crash. Tanisha, what have we learned?
Hi, Sarah and Eric. Today we learned that man who was arrested is 49 years old, and he was arrested just hours ago around 1:45. Now, we're going to put up his picture that we just got into our newsroom just minutes ago. He's possibly facing these charges: first-degree reckless homicide, first-degree reckless injury, and first-degree endangering safety. Now, this all started on Monday near Landmark Drive in Michelle Lane here in Cottage Grove. The victim of the crash that died is Dr. Kami Hansen. She's a chiropractor, and she was a large part of this community. She was hit by the car while walking with her son and her husband. We also learned today that both of the son and the husband are released from the hospital.
Tragically, one of the victims, Dr. Kami Hansen of Cottage Grove, succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced deceased at the hospital. The canine also perished at the scene. The other two individuals were hospitalized and have since been treated and released. We ask that you respect the privacy of the grieving families during this time.
On Tuesday, we did learn that speed might be a factor, according to Cottage Grove Police, but outside of that, we don't know anything else that led up to this crash. They told me that it's an ongoing investigation. Reporting in Cottage Grove, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Asia, thank you. The Arkansas man who allegedly kidnapped a pregnant teenager appeared in a Wisconsin courtroom today. Gary Day facing 2 counts each of child abduction and child enticement. The 40-year-old was taken into custody last month after he and the missing teen were spotted at a truck stop in Nebraska. He pleaded not guilty to the charges against him there in Nebraska and waived extradition to Wisconsin. An Amber Alert for the 17-year-old was issued back in February after she disappeared from her home in Beaver Dam. Investigators say Day is the father of her unborn child. Day is also facing federal charges in Arkansas, but those are on hold due to this case in Wisconsin.
Well, today marks 1 year since the shooting outside of Mount Horeb Middle School. On May 1st of last year, law enforcement killed an armed student outside of the middle school. He attempted to get in the school but did not succeed. Officers fired multiple shots when the student pointed a gun at the officer. Later, investigators discovered it was a pellet gun. Well, the incident left Mount Horeb teachers, students, and families traumatized. That's
right. The hashtag Mount Horeb Strong, though, has held true. Parents tell our Ellie La Liberté that strength showed up as soon as it was needed.
I can still hear that scream from that phone call, and that is a scream I will remember until the day I die.
This was by far the scariest day of my life. I think it was probably the scariest day of my kids' lives.
Brittany Pierce and Tracy Deem both have daughters who were in 8th grade at Mount Horeb Middle School last year. But 1 year after the scariest day of their lives, they're focusing on the community that wrapped its arms around them.
Today is a day of coming together. Even in such a tragic way to come together, it made us stronger. It made us more aware. It made us open our hearts.
Honoring the first responders and kids who stepped up.
They're little heroes, the things that they did for each other that day without even thinking about it. It was amazing.
Remembering, but moving forward.
I think we have to remind them that it happened and we survived it and we're stronger because of it.
Reporting in Mount Horeb, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. The Mount Horeb School District is calling today a day of acknowledgement. Schools are focusing on routine, connection, and care to further enhance physical security and emotional support. Other supports include furry friends from Custom Canine Service Dog Academy and increased law enforcement visibility.
Well, it has been on and off rain for most of the day. I know I got stuck in it with my dog. Let's check in with meteorologist Blaze Keller for a look at your accurate forecast. Is it still drizzling out there?
Not out here outside the studio, but we are still tracking some scattered drizzle to light rain showers across southern Wisconsin at this hour, mainly into Columbia County as well as Jefferson County. So we'll take it in closer to home. A few lingering showers near Marshall, near Sun Prairie as well. Extreme northeastern parts of Dane County into Jefferson County and Dodge County into Columbia County. We're still seeing some of that light rain activity near Randolph, kind of moving eastward towards Beaver Dam as well there in Dodge County. But we have to zoom out and take it all the way up to Green Bay, where most of that rain is right now. However, we will still continue to track the chance for showers, light at times to moderate, as we go throughout the rest of your evening into your Friday. So we are tracking kind of similar conditions to what we saw today for your Friday, but most of that rain activity should stay off towards the west. And again, it's going to be light to moderate. The weekend, though, it does look to be a little bit more on the sunnier and drier side as the clouds move on out starting Saturday morning. So we'll take a look at what the first weekend of May has in store for us and talk about what lies ahead for next week in the full forecast.
Blaze, thank you. And it was really coming down this morning. And some streets on Madison's east side were underwater this morning after all that heavy rainfall.
And they say when it rains, it pours. Our Merrill Hubbard spoke with drivers who were stuck on their morning commute.
While you can see the road now, Thursday morning it was a different story where heavy rain flooded the area of East Johnson and North 3rd Street, turning some drivers' morning rush into a morning float.
So yeah, I'm just driving. I was running a little late to work, coming off of University, came down East Johnson. I'm looking at the street, I'm like, okay, it's looking a little high, but it didn't look that high to me.
When you see standing water on the road, the common saying is turn around, don't drown. But Brandy Jones says she was following the car in front of her.
And the Nissan Altima, we're like almost the same size. They just went straight through the water. As soon as I got to the intersection, my car just cut off. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know what to do. I started panicking.
Stranded in the middle of the street, Brandy says she decided to call 911.
They're like, can you move? Like, can you drive the car? I'm like, the car turned off. No, I can't drive it.
Eventually, she was able to get out of her car through the window.
I'm on top of my car calling for help, and this nice gentleman came, pulled up to the car. He's like, jump in through my sunroof.
Through the sunroof, Brandy was steered back to safety and left waiting for a tow.
I can't even unlock the door.
I spoke with some residents in the area who didn't want to talk on camera, but say that flooding on this street has been a long-standing issue. When I brought up these concerns with the city, they say that this road is on their radar.
We understand that this area needs a lift replacement of pipes. All the way down to Pennsylvania Avenue.
Hannah Molinitsky with the engineering division explains that this happens when the city's storm sewers overflow. She says they are looking into solutions, but it'll take time.
And the feedback from the community is integral in this entire process.
In the meantime, turnaround, don't drown sticks. Take it from Brandy.
This builds character. I will never drive down a road I can't see ever again.
Reporting in Madison, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Now, city officials say they plan to have public information meetings on watershed studies in the near future. You can find more information on channel3000.com.
2 firefighters are hurt after responding to a fire in Fitchburg this morning. That fire first reported about 5:30 at a home on Endive Drive. Crews from several agencies were called to the scene. Smoke could be seen coming from the building when they arrived, and flames started showing from the roof area. The 2 firefighters were taken to a hospital for their injuries. They are not believed to be life-threatening. Everyone in the home was able to get out.
Residents are all okay, and we're currently working with them, property management and American Red Cross to get them needed supplies and then shelter.
The origin and cause of it are under investigation. Still ahead, why dozens of students were protesting at the Capitol today.
Plus, a county official looks to close a loophole on how contracts are awarded by the county board. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. Students of all ages took to the streets for May Day in Madison. Hundreds of people, including high school and college students, came out to protest. At one point, the crowd was blocking traffic on East Washington Avenue. Among the protesters here in Madison, students are calling for peace in Gaza, as well as the halting of what the Trump administration is calling mass deportations.
We have been asking for a liberation, demanding a liberation of Palestine, along with better allocations for the teachers, along with immigrant rights for the students who are undocumented. And we have been fighting for a while now. So a lot of these students have been struggling and they were really scared.
The protesters here were just some of the people around the world taking part in May Day. The rallies took place across the U.S., Europe, Asia, and the Middle East.
A Dane County supervisor wants to curb the power of the county's largest department to award contracts. District 20 Supervisor Jeff Wigand will introduce an amendment to repeal a part of a county ordinance that allows Dane County Human Services to execute contracts under $100,000 without the approval of the board. Now, the ordinance also allows the department to execute contracts over $100,000 if the contract was approved as part of the county budget process. Now, the move comes after a Channel3000.com report uncovered that Human Services used a loophole in the ordinance to award 2 taxpayer-funded contracts, both over $100,000, to Urban Triage without a vote.
Transparency is paramount to having good government. When we have transparency, we have good government. And right now, we don't have transparency, and consequently, we don't have good government.
Urban Triage Board President Dana Pelabon said last month that Wigand and others were spreading misinformation about the group and waging a, quote, multi-year harassment campaign against Urban Triage CEO Brandy Grayson. She called scrutiny against Grayson an attack on black womanhood and black organizations. Still ahead, new research shows a growing problem with cancer misinformation on social media.
Plus, as the NFL draft teardown continues in Green Bay, how a nonprofit is dealing with all of the food left over from the event.
And it's shaping up to be a gorgeous weekend. Blaze takes a look at the forecast when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Sick patients are at risk of being infected with misinformation when scrolling through social media.
Research published in the American Cancer Society's journal last year shows cancer misinformation can often have more reach than medical facts. Dr. Stacy Loeb, who has been studying the rise of cancer misinformation online, says her research shows up to 40% of cancer-related content on social media platforms contains misinformation.
There's, several different types. There's outdated facts. Then there's also stuff about symptoms. There's posts saying, oh, if you have erectile dysfunction or bone pain, these could be early warning signs of prostate cancer. Like, no, prostate cancer doesn't have any early warning signs, actually. That's why screening is so important.
So the question is, where should you go to find good, reliable health information? Well, the best place experts say to start is always with a doctor. Beyond that, seek out trusted resources that have a track record of reliability. Things like the American Cancer Society, Mayo Clinic, and major university health centers.
Kohl's is looking for another CEO. This after firing Ashley Buchanan, who spent less than 5 months in that position. The retailer says they fired Buchanan after it found he had engaged in unethical behavior. Kohl's added his termination is, quote, unrelated to the company's performance, financial reporting, results of operations, and did not involve any other company personnel. Buchanan was brought on as CEO back on January 15th. Michael Bender, the current chair of the Kohl's board, will now become interim CEO until a replacement is found.
Well, the NFL draft may be over, but some people in Green Bay are still benefiting from the event. A local nonprofit there has taken the surplus of food from the draft to make sure that it doesn't go to waste. According to food recovery nonprofit Rooted in Ink, they were able to save more than 6,000 pounds of food after the NFL draft. That food was distributed to 13 food shelters and nonprofits, and now Rooted in Ink is primed to do even more.
We will be implementing and offering cooking classes. We will be teaching people how to prevent food waste in their homes on the front end, teaching people how to shop, how to set their pantries up for success.
Very cool. She also says the nonprofit was still processing leftover food from the draft.
Rain today, then temperatures will warm up for the weekend. Blaze has the complete forecast.
And that rain is going to be on and off as we head throughout Thursday night into Friday as well. We've got an exiting low pressure system, and that'll keep our temperatures pretty seasonal overnight. Maybe a few of us don't even slip into the upper 40s. We hang out in the low 50s around the Mississippi River. Cooler further north and east on this Thursday night. Let's take a look at what we can expect here as we go over the next couple of days. Bigger picture wise, we're watching as this low pressure system exits the Midwest, and there's still a little leftover energy in the atmosphere, just enough to get a few showers going as we go into your Friday, mainly further to the west, but we could see some showers across northern Wisconsin before our next high pressure system moves on in. That's going to help clear out the clouds as we go throughout your Saturday morning, leaving us with more sunshine by Saturday afternoon and into the evening hours, keeping with the mostly clear to partly cloudy conditions. It's Sunday evening that we start to see our next low pressure system move on in out of the lower Mississippi River Valley into the Ohio River Valley, bringing us that chance for rain coming out of the southeast along with some fog. Now that low pressure system is going to be one of two lows that really don't move very quickly through the Midwest. Here's our first one. It's going to come up and it's going to just spin its way slowly over us. And then another low pressure system is going to move its way further to the south, but pretty much in the same path that the previous low took, and it's also going to take its time moving on out. The reason, we've got a high pressure system to our northwest, and we have a large high pressure system off into parts of the Atlantic. To get past a high pressure system, you have to be a very strong low. So these lows are essentially fizzling out as they're moving slowly from west to east. What does that mean for us here? Well, it means that we sit underneath primarily the same air mass, the same weather conditions until they move on. And that's why our temperatures, upper 60s to low 70s, pretty much from Tuesday of next week all the way through that following weekend. We have no new air moving on in. We're just cycling the same air mass, the same chance for showers, the same temperatures day in and day out, until that low pressure system has finally pushed its way further towards the east. So next week it's going to be nice temperature wise, but you'll see here we could see a few more rain chances as well. 50s and maybe a few 60s along the state line for your Friday. A little bit cooler than what we should be for this time of year, but the Wisconsin general fishing season starts this weekend. And as I just mentioned, showers in the morning on Saturday, but we're looking at upper 50s to low 60s on Saturday, and then those mid 60s on Sunday, starting off mostly to partly sunny, turning more mostly cloudy as your Sunday goes on. So here's the three things you need to know. Rain tonight, scattered rain showers on Friday, and then we're looking at more sunshine and drier conditions for your upcoming weekend. 70s starting Tuesday, and we hang out in the upper 60s to low 70s all throughout most of next week. We could add back a few thunderstorm chances by that following weekend.
And still to come in sports, it has been a long time in the making, but Brandon Woodruff is almost ready to be back on an MLB mound. The two-time All-Star tells you just how close he is. Next on News 3 Now. The Major League Baseball season is very long. With 162 games on the calendar, I find it easier to break it down by month. The Brewers were winless in March, but improved in April, going 16-11. But the Crew may have wanted to start this month in a different way, because today was one to forget. Milwaukee trailed 5-0 in the 7th, and with the bases loaded, Luis Robert Jr. broke it wide open with a 3-run double. The woeful White Sox beat the Brewers 8-0, the final score. But the good news is help is on the way, and it's been a long time coming. Brandon Woodruff made his 4th rehab start yesterday up in Appleton, his longest and best outing yet. The club says he'll need at least one more start in the minors before returning to a big league mound, but Big Woo says he's almost back.
Each and every outing has been a little different in terms of the way the body feels, but it feels great. Shoulder felt good. Now it's just more about, as I'm getting into these outings after a year and a half, it's all about getting the delivery in place and just trying to execute pitches.
Like most bad news, the transfer portal seems to hit when you least expect it. The latest victim comes from the volleyball court because today when the transfer portal opened, Wisconsin's Lola Schumacher announced that she's leaving, which leaves Kelly Sheffield without his starting libero. Lola landed on the Big Ten's all-freshman team last season after a fantastic first year where she started 23 games, pacing the Badgers with more than 3.5 digs per set. And the offseason action continues up in Green Bay. The Packers had some decisions to make today on 2 former first-round picks. They picked up defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt's fifth-year option, ensuring he'll be on the roster through 2026. But as for Quay Walker, they declined his option. The team says, though, they hope to work out an extension with the linebacker to keep him around long-term.
All right, Andrew, thank you.
Well, coming up tonight at 10 after Elsbeth, we have more details on the deadly crash in Cottage Grove. We'll break down the charges that driver faces and what police have released about the investigation so far.
Well, let's go to Blaze with one final check of our forecast.
And we're going to continue to see the lingering light showers to drizzle throughout the rest of this evening into Friday as well, sticking to mostly cloudy conditions to end the work week. The cloud cover and the last of the rain wrap up early Saturday, leaving us with more sunshine by the afternoon, upper 50s to low 60s, mid 60s on Sunday. It is the Wisconsin General Fishing Opener, so get out and cast your lines, and I hope you guys catch something nice. Otherwise, all next week looks great. 70s with isolated rain chances.
We are ready for some better weather. Blaze, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
See you back here at 10.